All right, we live.
We're live.
Live. Welcome everyone to the very first live episode of All Aboard. We're
That's right.
really excited for this, and I think that this is a great opportunity. And seriously, Ned, LK, I'll ask you guys how you're doing in a second, but what the fuck has happened in the past 24 hours? I shut my phone off for Sabbath, and all of a sudden, the whole world ended.
Yeah.
What is going on?
That's how we roll, man. That's how we roll. You know, like we're picking our battles with our frenemies at Barstool. You know, that fucking JDM again, trying to be a woke, social justice warrior.
Yep.
And what's his name? Chadwick Boswick. What's his name?
Yep.
Black Panther?
Yep. Chadwick.
Chadwick. He died. Huge loss, right, Adam? I know you were crying backstage.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, like, seriously, first of all, Wakanda Forever. Big Black Panther fan. My son's a big Black Panther fan. I even said to my wife, I'm like, do we need to talk about this with him? Because, like, I'm sure he'll hear about it at school. School starts Monday. I'm really excited about that. But I mean, it's just, it's been crazy. And then, like, yeah, I guess, we're already have our second major Barstool feud, and I guess we can start there. You know, I mean, hey guys, Kirk is back. Two massive fights in the first week. Kirk is back, guys.
I know, and interestingly enough, he didn't start any of the fights.
Nope.
It's amazing how he's seen as the bad boy. Meanwhile, people are just shitting on him. You know, first baby Brandon, total pussy, total softy. You know, cannot handle a conversation. Even Mike body backed him. That was awesome.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then this low level JDM comes out of the blue. You know, like without any context, without listening to those to the whole clip,
right?
Just making assumptions, not asking for facts. Just
and not caring.
Yeah, calling Kirk a racist.
Well, that's also amazing. just remember when Josh. This JDM guy, when he came up into our purview for the first time, and then he quickly tried to become a Minifan, and Kirk warned us then. Again, hashtag Kirk was right. He said it then. He's like, "Be careful, this guy's gonna come back." He smelled it out then.
I know. Yeah, we should listen to Kirk more, right?
Yeah.
Because we thought, oh, maybe this JDM guy will come around. He's a nice guy. Same thing with Brandon, like we thought, oh yeah, he's a good guy, but it's just an asshole,
Exactly.
How do you guys feel about the first week of Kirk being back?
I was thrilled, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump in.
No, please.
It was like an adrenaline shot.
Yeah.
To be honest, and I couldn't wait for 11 o'clock on Monday.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I think that it was a great week. I don't think Kirk missed a beat. I think they just came back and were firing on all cylinders. So yeah, I mean, I've been thrilled. I'm excited. Next week, hopefully, I'll have some time to call in the show, so everyone will get to hear my voice again, because I'm sure everyone's been missing that and clamoring for that, right? No, but seriously, I mean, I think that it's been great that he's been having the calls, and that he's been interacting the way he has. I mean, it's literally as if nothing happened, and he just came back and just went right into it.
And I'll tell you what, I don't really hate the split show, the split recording Thursday and the drop on Friday.
Fine.
Yep.
I mean, if the guy wants a Friday off, why not?
Exactly. Well, not only that, but he's committed contractually to what, 50-minute show?
50 minutes.
Yeah, 55. There you go.
Yep.
But here's the thing, right? I've heard some people commenting on both Twitter and Discord that he's not the same. He's been down. He doesn't sound good. I honestly cannot pick up on those things, and I hate being a Monday morning quarterback. Like the first time he went on a break, people said, "Oh, I knew it. I could hear on his voice. He wasn't good." Same thing now. Like I can't distinguish. To me, he's great all the time.
I mean,
I cannot see when he's down or up.
I'm not his shrink, and I'm not a shrink. Period. So I agree. I think it's just people just wanting to pretend that they know what they're talking about. I don't think most people, unless you're very, very, very close with someone, and while we all love to think that we're all close with Kirk, none of us actually are. You don't really ever pick up on that type of stuff.
Yeah, And one thing, right, Adam? I hope you learn your lesson. Don't ask him for parental advice anymore.
Oh, God, it's hard not to. It's hard not to. It's a good thing Adam Minahan's in the picture now. Maybe I can get some from him.
Yeah, exactly.
And I got to tell you too, though, I did appreciate Mike for once stepped up and asked some pretty good questions about, that drew a lot out of Kirk, whether it was pre-planned or not. He was the one asking the questions, not Steve.
Yep.
So, and so it gave a little perspective. You're right. I don't want to sound like a ball washer or anything like that, but you didn't sound any different to me. None.
You sound the same.
Good.
I mean, did I think all the calls were good? No, I think it slowly ramped.
Yeah, but that's always the way it
throughout
is.
the week. Yeah,
Sure.
but I mean, I agree with some people that maybe he should slow down the calls a little bit.
I think
Maybe
he's
have
taking less.
calls.
He was
or
taking less, I think, this week.
Keep a few
think so.
days of calls, right? Just do 3 times a week, 4 times a week. It doesn't need to be every day, but maybe he likes the interaction. Maybe it's a way for him to give back.
Yep.
Right.
Some calls were just awful, but there's always a lot of good calls, right? When King calls, when like Copper Doodle is my favorite, man.
Yeah.
Copper Doodle is my favorite right now.
Trump has always been and always will be my favorite.
Yeah. Trump and also Kim Jong Un.
Yes,
he hasn't called in a while.
Tim Jong Un. But speaking of Trump, and let's move on a little bit here.
Thank you.
We are not a political show. We will not be a political show. However, for the past few weeks, we seemingly have been. So let's wrap up our month of politics and discuss the RNC. Personally, I'm right there with Kirk. I think that conventions are stupid and old-fashioned, especially in today's day and age. They're just pandering fests and kind of more of a nuisance than anything else. But with that in mind, Ned, what were your thoughts on the RNC?
Well, I've never been a convention fan at all, and okay, since you're new to this country, it's a big production. It used to be.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few. Yeah.
But it used to be a big deal before you had primaries. It was a big deal because you would have convention floor politics on who's going to get on the ticket and what's going to be on the platform. Now it's all set up, and so I think they're both stupid. But it was a stark contrast between the two approaches.
Yep.
One was doom and gloom and everything is horrible, and the other was kind of like sunny side up. I actually thought it was better. It was more of a production, of course, but the Republican one was better, even though I don't really agree with. I don't agree with either party's platforms, to be honest. But I just think from a show standpoint, from a production standpoint, Republicans won the day.
Yeah, and I think that they had their ducks in a row, right? They were not. They didn't have an AOC moment when she said she endorsed crazy Bernie, right? Everyone that spoke were supporting Trump, or seemed like they were supporting Trump. Yep. There was no dissent voice. It looked like and sounded like a unified party. I think they touched on a bunch of topics, right? Immigration, racial differences, economy. So I thought it was good. They brought small business owners. They brought representation from Black people. They brought representation from the Latinos. So I think it was well thought out. Obviously, you can find people that will support. Might be a minority, but they were there. It was a unified agenda. It was a smooth flow across the days. Obviously, it was the Trump show, right? It reminded me of The Apprentice, right? It's just like the Trump show and everything else.
Sorry, go
ahead.
Well, no, I mean, I was going to agree with you. I completely agree. They played the identity politics really well. I have a couple of notes here, a couple of things that I wanted to make fun of the RNC for, and then a couple of things that I wanted to praise them for. So to make fun of them, I'm going to start there.
Fair and balanced.
Exactly, right? Trump, there was a Daily Beast article that came out just before the RNC that said that Trump was determined to beat Biden's TV ratings. And, he didn't.
No kidding.
He pulled Biden pulled a 17.5 rating for about 23.6 million people watching. Trump had 14.1, which was about 21.6 million. It probably doesn't mean anything, but I loved Biden's press secretary playing the Trump game and tweeting something, and I don't remember it word for word, but it was something like, I forget, does Trump care about his TV ratings, or is that something that's not a big deal? Do you think he's going to be triggered by Biden's speech? Do better. I just loved it. I mean, we've been saying it all along. Like, if you can't laugh at what Trump says and the way he is, then you're just lying to yourself. So I found that funny.
The bias of the media is awful.
Yes.
Right? It's so absurdly clear that they hate Trump. You know? Instead of Fox News, like everything else that I see is just like against Trump. But one thing that it caught my attention. I think my criticism is like the Trump show, right? It's always about Trump.
Yep.
But one thing that I liked, two things that I liked. The small business owner, it was a lady saying how she was able to reinvent herself, invest on her business and grow. During those last 4 years, it brings an actual real example of what's going on instead of just bringing fear, uncertainty and doubt to the elections. And that boy from the Catholic school that last year, was wearing a MAGA hat and almost got canceled. I don't know if you remember that story. Remember that he had a MAGA hat. He was like on excursion, right?
Yeah.
Something. And he was on the convention. It was great. He talked about cancel culture, how people try to cancel him, how he fought back, how the media is biased, and hypocrite. So
there was some great trolling from Trump back to the left. I mean, I think that even having the campaign signs on the White House lawn that just pissed everyone off, and having the big crowd there, which I guess we can't really criticize because of Sacco. But there are already reports now coming out that 4 people as of Friday who were at the RNC in Charlotte have already tested positive. So that's not a great look for them. But again, it was Trump being Trump, and I will say this after both of them, and I'm just gonna forget about the rest of my notes here. I'm just gonna say one last thing in summation here, and that is, I'm going to stick with my prediction that Biden will win. I'm going to stick with it just because I made it. It's on the record. I'll stick with it. If I check out FanDuel and I put money on the election, I'll probably not follow my prediction, but whatever. I do think that with more violent outbursts and with more videos of people screaming at innocent bystanders just trying to have a meal, the left has this election to lose. This is their election to lose. It is not Trump's to win. Trump lost the election at the beginning of COVID, and it was the left to just take and run with, and they are just fucking dropping the ball.
Proving once again that they cannot be trusted. They cannot
Adam, but I brought up this point a couple of weeks ago. I think the Republican Party is so focused on data, and they have a ninja approach to this election. They don't focus on the blanket country like as a whole. They focus on the states where they need. Right? And they will focus on those states and the regions where they can get votes and get the state to be red. But not only that, I mean, the whole schedule of the convention to me showed how laser focused they are on getting those votes, right? It wasn't about, let's bring up the 100% truth or people's feelings. No, let's make the best lineup to make Trump look good.
Yeah. And to your point, LK, I went to a social media conference in Austin, Texas, a couple of years ago. Get that buzzer out.
I'm getting the buzzer right now.
There we go. This is welcome to the new segment for anal, where anytime Ned or I go on a tangent, we go all aboard. But one of the speakers there was Brad Parscale, who was at the time still just the digital advisor for the Trump campaign, and he gave his whole speech, and then he was the Trump campaign manager for a while, recently got let go, but he gave a whole speech about how without social media and without social media data specifically, he didn't think that they would have won the election. He thinks that they won specifically because Trump saw how great Obama used social media when he was running, and he took that and just basically roided it up and put it on crack and went to the whole next level with it, but also looked at the data and saw what was working, where it was working. So you're absolutely right. They are fully focused on the data, whereas the left is just so focused on what it's just emotional. It's exactly. Business approach versus the emotional approach.
And that's what I don't understand, because basically Obama had the roadmap, right? And the blueprint, what to do. Just replicate that, and you're like, at the same level as the Republicans, but they
even to a
they
point,
ignore
by
it.
the way, where Obama wasn't this like super well known guy
Yep.
when he was running for when the primaries started and when the campaign started. He wasn't this completely well-known political force, and he won because of that. Like, that helped him, the fact that, you know, he was going after everyone hated Bush, and so he was using the fact that, you know, we're getting out of politics, where, you know, he didn't use the same phrasing that Trump did with draining the swamp, but again, you're exactly right. Okay, he put the blueprints out, and Trump is the only one that's been capitalizing on it.
I think that the last takeaway from this for me was,
Mhm.
and I watched both, not every day, not religiously,
It's hard to watch that
watching
shit every day.
I know exactly. So, but watching a night for each party, if I was sitting on the fence, I would be going for. I would have moved
Yeah.
for Trump.
Yeah.
All right,
Period.
so my last point of this, I've seen a bunch of criticism of Trump using the White House as
Yep.
his, place of doing the convention. What do you guys think about that? I mean, isn't everyone criticizing him for traveling all over the place?
Right. Yeah.
The moment that he decides to stay in his house, right? White House is his fucking house.
Yep.
People are criticizing that he did the convention from there.
I mean, listen, you said it. You basically said it just now. Trump could cure cancer tomorrow, and it would be spun into some evil move. I agree. You can't complain that about all the COVID issues and everything there, and needing to cancel the conventions, if you're gonna then play the political game of, well, the White House has to stay unbiased and has to stay fair.
Right.
But also, again, like, let's go back in time. The Democrats had Bill Clinton speaking about the sanctity of the White House.
I know.
Kirk said it. We
Yep.
said it. I
Yep.
mean, the hypocrisy there about claiming that the White House is this holy sanctum of sanctums,
Yep.
when he was shoving cigars in the vagina of an intern while she was giving him head. Like, come on.
While he was on the phone conducting
Exactly.
policy.
By the way, L'chaim,
The whole
boys.
thing.
Yeah.
L'chaim.
Salud.
Shavua tov.
Salud.
Salud.
Salute.
Anyway, enough
Listen.
politics for a while. I know
Yes.
BNB won't like it because she likes our political takes, but we need to move on from politics.
No, we got B&B in the chat telling us that we're the best.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So-
That's nice.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not in the chat.
So one thing that I found this week, which I thought was interesting, was vacationing during COVID.
Yes.
And I've searched so many articles and I've seen so many different views on what people should be doing that I thought we should talk about it, right?
I
What
agree.
are your opinions about COVID? So I'll let Adam go first.
Well, first of all, if you live in a state that doesn't
I'm ready to go. Okay.
I'm just saying, if you live in a state that doesn't have legalized dispensaries, you need to go out of state to get them. So that's rule number one.
But you
No,
had
but,
the most challenge.
Yeah.
You had the most challenging. I mean, loyal viewers to All Aboard will know that last week you were on vacation. I think caught you on the way to vacation. even though
No. I was already there. I
You're already
just got in the car and just
you
drove off
seemed-
away from the house just
You
because
seem
I
to be
needed
having
to.
such a great time.
Listen, I was away with my in-laws first, and then I was away with my family, and my family was Anyways,
Did your family go to did your family go to Cape Cod as well or not?
yes, my family. It just so happened to be that
Oh.
just coincidentally, both my parents and my in-laws all wanted to go to the Cape, so we went
Okay,
half the
all
week
right.
with my in-laws for about 5 days with my in-laws and my wife's siblings and their spouses, and then we went for the second half with my parents and my sister and her family. My brother lives in Chicago, so he couldn't make it. But that's the thing, like, you can look at it with you can look at all the articles, LK, you can do all the research. The bottom line is you have to do what you're comfortable with, and that's what the whole world is today. So we all took COVID tests before we went down. We all thankfully tested negative. And for my in-laws, they're not as concerned as my parents. So we didn't wear masks in the house there, and we did whatever we wanted, really. With my parents, in my family, we wore masks in the house. We tried to stay outside as much as possible, which is very easy when you're on the Cape, and the weather was great. And it was just we took the precautions. We hired on our own a separate cleaning crew to come in and just sanitize the house for a few hours before
Was it
we all
kosher?
got there. make it completely kosher. No,
Right.
no, but it's just that I wouldn't go on an airplane right now. But I don't see an issue with renting a house via an Airbnb. I don't know if I would necessarily go to a hotel now. I probably wouldn't. But the other thing that I had to think about, and LK, I'm sure you have this also, is that my kids' school. Like I said, school's starting Monday. And with us being back in person, they even sent out an email this week that we have to sign some basically.
Are they gonna be in
form.
person?
That if they're going to be in person full time, and they sent in this honor form
are you okay
that we
with
have to
that?
sign. Oh, I love it. I absolutely
That's
want
great.
that. I want them to be in person forever.
We're talking about vacation, not school.
But it's connected. Here's the connection. We timed it so that if we needed to quarantine for 14 days, we could. So that's all now part of the considerations that we're taking. But again, it's just do what you're comfortable with.
Did you get an Airbnb or did you get a hotel?
Oh, you
We
did?
got an Airbnb. Yep.
I thought you might have rented a
Yeah.
house.
So I
Well, yeah. I mean, we rented a house, but it was through Airbnb or whatever.
what I thought about what I thought was interesting about the articles were the stark contrasts, right? I saw some people saying, "Don't get out of your house, you're crazy of going out." To people say, "Yeah, I don't care, just go and make sure you follow the guidelines." And the more, people in the center that says, "Hey, you can go out, but make sure you follow the right procedures. Don't expose yourself a lot," right?
Yep.
So when I was in Florida, we went to a hotel, right? We got there, the fucking hotel, the hotel room was dirty. Even though it was deemed clean, it was dirty. So my wife and I was like, okay, we can call them. They're gonna come here and just sweep the dirt, or we can just wipe with the alcohol wipes, and that's
Clean
what
it
we did.
yourself.
We cleaned ourselves, right? When we went to the pool, all the way to the pool, we would wear masks. We would keep our distance.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be near other people. So there are ways that that you can mitigate the risk.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of hotels right now that, smartly enough, they are selling themselves not only as a hotel but a workplace away from your house.
That's
People
correct.
are just getting crazy of staying at home, so they are offering their room not as a place to vacation, but hey, we have a desk, we have good Wi-Fi, and it's a break from your environment. So I thought it was great that they were able to reinvent themselves this way and get some people.
Yep.
So I think that's good.
There's, speaking of hotels, though, hey, one quick second,
Oh,
and then
vacation.
I'll pass it to you. I'm gonna
I'm on
pass it to you one quick
vacation,
second. I know. I'm gonna pass to you 1 second, but I just want to bring up some of our great fans who commented on Twitter. Gearhead Mike, who is in Myrtle Beach now on a golf trip, his hotel apparently didn't open until May of this past year.
Okay.
So they were going through his 8-month renovation, so they didn't reopen until May. So he said that that helped him feel more comfortable with it because it was just recently open. So it's sort of the same thing as what you're saying there, LK. But yeah, Ned, let's hear about your vacation.
So we drove from Florida to Maine, and on the way up, I got us a hotel. I've got I should say I used to have quite a bit of Marriott points, so I can get a hotel room for free. This year I've earned very little, but I prefer Alofts, right? So Alofts, the brand. The hotel we stopped at was in Baltimore, so it's about a 17-hour drive from here, and it was immaculate. Also, they're very streamlined, these type of hotels, so it's a short walk to the elevator or to your room. I asked for a ground floor room because we had our dog, and just wear a mask, follow the rules. It was easy in, easy out. Room was immaculate. And they even said that, when they actually walked us to the room, and they said, listen, we just want to let you know it's been sanitized according to COVID regulations. So all the countertops, aside all the bedding, which they don't often do, the comforter, but they said the comforters have been done, sheets are done every day. And they sanitized everything with the alcohol wipes and disinfectant. So felt great. And it's been over 2 weeks. So I'm fine.
But you know what, Ned? I have a neighbor of mine that he works in the hotel businesses, and he said during COVID, they had to stop offering hotels, right, for just tourists. But they had a huge influx of long-term people wanting to rent hotel rooms.
Really?
Yeah, so they had some properties that were long-term already, and they converted a bunch to long-term, so that they were able to keep at 80% capacity of almost all properties by doing that.
Wow.
I don't know
Wow, so smart.
why triggered that. The guy
Yep.
didn't know either, but he said that was a phenomenon that we saw. We were able to pick up the trend in the beginning. It
Well,
just went with the flow.
I had friends who were completely anti going to hotels, but then when the hurricane hit a couple weeks ago, and we got hit pretty bad here, I some of my friends had trees go through their houses and lost power, and so they had to go to the hotel because they had nowhere else to go, and there's a
Right.
hotel literally a mile from where I live, so they so they went there, and it was it's been interesting, and they've been fine, and they said that they were again, it was the same type of experience net where they walked in and they were told, okay, here's the room, it's been super cleaned, it's been whatever. But then I have another friend who stayed at a hotel recently, and he walked in the room, and it was like what you experienced, LK, where he walked in and the beds weren't made, the towels were on the floor, and like normally that's an issue in and of itself. Like normally I'd be like, first of all, where the fuck are you staying? And also, I would, that's it in and of itself. But in today's world, even more so, I'm like, oh shit, this is a fucking problem.
Yeah. But one thing, I don't know, Natty, you probably won't like my take here, but one thing that I'm not comfortable doing is flying.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. It's one thing that if I can avoid, I will.
Yeah.
Because I had to go to Saco, and I flew, and you flew, right?
Yep.
And you saw the plane was kind of busy, right? They kept a few middle seats open, but the airlines are struggling. They want to make money, and they kind of saying, "Oh, we are following all the procedures." And I don't believe they are not, but it's tough. All it takes is an asshole to pull the mask down and breathe out the fucking virus, and everyone's fucked. It's not about the airlines; it's about the assholes that don't follow the rules. And I saw plenty in that fucking flight.
Yep. And because they're condensing routes, like because there aren't as many flights going anymore, that the flights do look busier when you're in them because it's you may have had 5 flights from Newark to Fort Lauderdale in a day, but now it's 1 flight. So you're right, and I probably wouldn't be comfortable flying either right now. And I haven't yet, and I don't foresee a situation where I will anytime soon. Or even with like my brother, we've talked about the fact that my sister who lives right here nearby, her middle son is having his bar mitzvah next year, and we've talked about the fact that we might not be able to. My brother might not be able to come.
Where is it? You said bar mitzvah. Shit. Sorry.
No. That's the button that plays Hava Nagila, where I make a Jewish comment.
Hey, are you Jewish?
Not
sure. I'm actually Mormon. I don't know who I was talking about that with on Twitter, but I was talking about how I was like, no, this is all a big ruse. I just, I'm actually Mormon, and I just, going really deep on this, and my kids, I sat them all down. I was like, all right, guys, there's this guy named Kirk that I love, and you're going to have to now observe Sabbath.
Oh my God. Hey, but
I've just flown 3 times though during the crisis.
Yeah.
I've flown 3 times. One with you and Mrs. LK, of course. On the way up though, that flight on that airline was not full at all. We flew down that almost every seat was full. But when I flew up, I had an entire row to myself. And I know there are some airlines that aren't booking the middle seat. I think Southwest, I think Delta. I know that United American are not. They're just booking. And to Adam's point, carriers will consolidate routes where they used to have 5 flights a day, they're down to like 2, because they do have to serve the market. What's going to be interesting is once the PPP money ends on September 30th, airlines can then do what they need to do to right size their airline. So right now, the airlines or these businesses that took the PPP was to protect jobs and employment. So most businesses offered.
Well, they don't want. They have to, right?
They have to as part of the condition, but they can offer voluntary departure programs, whether it's retirement or whether it's separation, with rehiring, and some of the offers were actually quite generous.
Yep.
The one I was offered, I couldn't take, so I'm riding it out. But in October, airlines will be able to completely change what they do and modify their organizations for the new world, which airlines expect will be through 2021. There won't be a return for full air travel that you saw in 2019 or even in January of this year until 2022. Yeah, 2000 years. Earliest.
I was talking to a friend. My old college roommate is a mechanical engineer, and he works for Boeing. and I was talking to him about about what's changed and whatnot. And he had been working on for the past 10 years. Every project he's been worked on has been about reducing the noise from the engines and the propellers in the plane. Now he said everyone has just been put on a shift on a dime, and you need to now be focused on improving airflow and ventilation. Correct. And that and it's basically a race now for the airline industry, for the airline makers, between the big names as to who can make the best ventilated airplane first, because whoever can, that's going to hit the market, and that's going to be the new standard airplane for everyone.
But you know what sucks? And that, I'm sorry to cut you, but
I've done 9 shows this week. Don't worry about
it. I'm seeing a trend, like, as a foreigner, right?
Ned from Providence.
Where aviation is not something part of our culture, or is not as accessible, right? I saw in the US that like flying was very democratized, that anyone could fly, right? Or anyone can fly, right? I'm seeing a trend now with everything that's gonna go down, with airlines either like going broke or merging a lot of routes and shit. Yep. The prices are gonna go up, and then flights not gonna be as easy as before. And as we know, in any society, when this happens, only people that have more access to money and are more well off will be able to fly. Yep. And that's the shitty part.
Believe it or not, LK, the airline industry has very easy entry and exit thresholds. So you don't need to actually to start an airline. You would just need to lease an aircraft from someone with already an airworthy certificate who could fly, and have the money, have some financial backing and some runway money, of course. Right. But you could easily get in and start your own. But you could start your own airline. If on a specific route that's under constraints that could use more service. Let's just say, for example,
but in these times of uncertainty, who is going to start a new airline?
Right. But LK, do you think that this can lead then to a renaissance in? There you go, Net Air. Do you think that this could lead to a renaissance in for trains and for bus travel again?
Yes, I hope not, because I rather fly. But I think it's gonna be like next 5 years. It's gonna be really. It's gonna suck to fly, and then
there's gonna be a re-regulation.
Yeah.
But by the way, to your point too, okay, with or Adam, with your friend at Boeing, airlines already have new air filtration systems into the aircraft. That's what happened as early as April and into May. Yep. It's the actual cleaning of the seats, the trays, where fingers come in contact. I'm a pretty healthy guy, but I know that because I used to fly so much that I would get regularly sick, and and my boss is the same way. And he knows, he's like, we're getting sick because we fly so much.
Yeah,
and it's true. It's not because we're exposed to people per se, but it is the recirculated air, and it's really that's the only thing I do. I'm not an anal dick about anal.
There you go.
I'm not a dick about it, but when you get the hot face cloth, I never use it on me. I wipe down my tray. Both sides, because that's where the bacteria.
That's my guy. This is a first class thing. I love it.
Of course. That was a little humble brag right there. I like it. Only a select know that.
Inadvertent, yeah. Have fun in the economy.
No, but you're absolutely right. And I also really hope that this will hopefully lead to the removal of the seats that they put in to squeeze, when it used to be that you had this much space between the rows, and then they added another seat in between, so now you have this much space. I'd love to see that.
Forget it. It's going to be more. If they could,
which leads to your price increase, because if there's going to be fewer seats, they have to charge more.
Correct.
If they could, they would sell stand-up seats or stand-up place.
Yeah, that's Ryanair in the UK. That's Ireland. They'd love to do that. They charge you €1 to use the bathrooms.
Yeah, it's like if they could, they would, but. Like, let's travel a little bit here, and if tomorrow you could go anywhere in the world and travel, no COVID issues, where would you go?
All right, this is really easy for me because we had this trip planned, and
Jerusalem doesn't count.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know. Listen, I flew there last year with our just over 1-year-old at that time. And it was fucking disaster. So no, trust me, that's not it. But we were supposed to go in April, and our kids did not know, because we don't tell them about trips until they actually happen. But yet they've been asking to go back anyways. Disney World.
Just say
Disney
it.
World. Disney World. Just want to go to Disney.
How about
I
you?
gotta
Matt?
build it up. I gotta build it up. Come on.
Flying to Paris, take the train to Normandy, and
Ooh,
get a place there,
big one. That's
and
good.
near Rouen.
I will go back to Thailand, man. I love that place.
You love the heat, man.
I do.
Loves the massages. Let's look at let's look at some of the
Local massage are the best.
let's look at some of the responses that we got from we asked on Twitter for what people's thoughts were on traveling. So I already told you guys what Gearhead Mike said, and hopefully he's doing well on his at the golf tourney. He did say also
he's
that
watching. He's on the chat.
oh, is he? There you
He's calling
go.
us pussies for not wanting to fly. That's okay.
That's fair.
We respect
That's
it.
fair. But hopefully he his golf game is better than mine. But shout out to Chris from Wakefield who went to New Hampshire last month. He did the same thing that we did, where he used a VRBO. He ate out only once and grilled most of the other time, which is again the same thing we basically did. And he said, you can still go away and have an enjoyable vacation. He just wouldn't stay at a hotel now. And then another response we got was from Joe Malley, who he just booked a 10-day vacation to Aruba. So he
Nice.
said the plane tickets were cheap. He's paid a round trip $200 for both him
That's
and
awesome.
I'm guessing his spouse. And he said that he just wanted they're going to get tested a couple days before. But as long as he can get away from Jersey City and New York City, he's good to go. So I'm thrilled with that.
I'm sorry. The chat of the night is our friend Robinson BNB, who has
Yes.
said anal is the best.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I'll take that.
Hashtag
take
butt
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
Tara still wants to go to Disney World. Yes, Tara.
Tara,
we
I'm with
know.
you. Tara,
We
I am
know.
right there with you. It is.
yeah, and you know what? Like people are talking about like getting on a plane, you cowards, and that's fine. But I enjoy road trips so much that I would
yeah.
rather drive. And
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, me too.
Road
I
trips
wish
are
we had a good
fine.
rail.
I
wish
don't
we had
know
a good
how
rail
you. I don't know how you like road trips, considering how often you do it with your kids. Because road trips,
I get it.
listen, with the friends, they're fine. I cannot imagine, and I have friends who do it. I have friends who drive from here down to Florida,
Sure.
and I can't imagine doing that with the kids. I just can't. It's how.
We did it. We used to. We
Right.
did it before
love
iPads
it.
with my kids.
Yeah.
When they were, my
So
wife
here's
and I
the
did it.
thing.
We drove all the way through. We drove from Old Orchard Beach to Fort Lauderdale in 26
Jeez.
hours and 15 minutes.
that's crazy. I met
With
some
no
friends
cocaine
down in
either.
Orlando, and they took us to a local brewery. And Miss LK fell in love with their seltzer that is not sold anywhere else. And she was like, "My stock of seltzer is gone. You need to go buy me more." I'm like, "Are you serious?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm kind of am. I'm jokingly telling you to go. Like, I'm gonna drive." I go, "It's like fine."
Well, listen,
So
if you
if anyone wants to go on to Orlando on a road trip with me,
I'll
if
drive
you're ever
up and
making
get you.
your way, if you're ever driving through the Midwest, and shout out to CT Rebel, who I also see in the chat. In Michigan, they have this beer, Bell's Oberon, which you can't get outside of there, and they have this spring beer. It is the best beer I've ever had. Shout out KMS Brews.
Yeah.
It is the best beer I've ever had. It is awesome. I'm not a beer guy, but it was fantastic. So I agree with Mrs. LK. Like and that's why I like traveling, because I like finding different foods and different drinks and different things that are locally available and you can't get elsewhere. So
well, if Team
sucks that you
Team
can't.
Rich Golds is still watching this, hey, if you want to go down again, do a part 2 of that trip. Let's do it.
I'll drive up. I'll meet you guys in Orlando.
That'd be
That'd be
that's a
awesome.
date.
3
And
hours north.
we can meet up with Justin as well from Tampa.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Awesome. All right,
All
guys.
right,
I think
boys.
we talked a lot. I think it was a good episode. Thanks
Great.
for watching.
First live episode went well.
Yeah.
True. Thanks for watching Anal. Hope you liked it. More next week.
Yep. Thanks, Justin.
God, that's
Have a good night.
change that. So good.